is the most well known. Some men who were dance teachers also found a place in the studios, Nattuvanas, and they functioned as the chief musicians and choreographer of dances. These men had dance schools called Silumbukuram, I told you. They also belonged to a guild called Nattuva Mela. Though company dramas had large number of singing artists, they did not have many dance teachers. The dance teachers come in after the sound cinema comes. One writer recorded about, when I say one writer, these are some of the Western scholars who are going deep into this subject. So I got this material through their blogs. One writer record, I quote, "The uncertain future prompted several Nattuvana to leave their villages and migrate to urban centers, where upper and middle class girls had started showing interest in learning the art. The celluloid medium was a new frontier and a veritable gold rush commenced. The Nattuvana found jobs as choreographers in studios and brought in addition to the song and dance, this dance tradition of the Isaivaras. So one of the most well-known of such Nattuvana was Muthuswami. You will see his name in B.A. Muthuswami in many films like Malaikallan. What they did was they had a full dance, like a dance kacheri. They also had similar kacheris in the early films with the complete accompaniments. From that only the cinema song develops. So Muthuswami Pillai comes to Madras and joins a dance school which was run by K. Subramanian called Theodore. And it was in this school that various styles of dance were combined, and a dance style called Oriental dance came. Tamil comedian Chandrababu was trained here, and Muthuswami, after being in that school, started getting film contracts. So one writer says, the arc lights and the proscenium stage must have been a novel experience. Dance becoming the entertainment of the elite and the proletariat attracted this boy from the village. A good example of his work was the dance sequence by his student Sai Subrachman, also from the Isaivala community. If you see the 50s and 60s, and in every film they will be there. Either Lalita Padmini or Sai Subrachman. Sai Subrachman were more classical in their approach, and they all full dance for show. Muthuswami Pillai also choreographed a film called Marmaveeran, in which Vaijayantimala dances the exact Sadirat. There were other well-known dance teachers such as Dandadibani Pillai and Valur Ramaya Pillai, whose name often appeared prominently in the credits. When a number of women artists came from the community in the early years, arguably the best known among them is T.R. Rajakumar. She was the granddaughter of a Carnatic musician, Tanjavur Pujalam Bard. K. Subramaniam gave her a break in the film Kachadevayane. And the next milestone in her career was Chandralekha. She was active up to in the early 70s. She turned a producer and made a couple of films. People like T.R. Rajakumar, several artists who made it big in the film world, they brought in their family members into different departments of cinema. She brought in her brother, T.R. Ramana, as a sound recordist, and he became a director and made famous movies like Kuleba. Now, question to be asked, I would like to ask is, what was the impact of bringing in this song and dance and putting it in cinema? The repertoire of these artists, song, dance, music, formed the substance of Tamil cinema. Song and dance component became an essential ingredient of a film, while the story, often already known to the audience, was a mere peg to hang on. I told you about the first 61 films being drama, photograph drama. About 160 films, early films, out of 210 made in the 30s up to 40, 160 were mythological. What is the significance? The mythology story is known already to all the audience. So, the pressure of telling a story visually is not on the director. So, a grammar of cinema doesn't develop in Tamil Nadu. Take for example, Valli Thiruvanam. Valli is standing there and an old man comes. The audience know that it's Murugan. And then they will also know soon an elephant will come. So the visually telling the story, the development of cinema grammar did not happen yet. So when they begin to make films of contemporary stories, that is stories with which people are not familiar, what did they do? They began to tell the story visually. They began to tell the story verbally, which is the worst thing that can happen to see. For example, in our films you can see a man will go into a room and you see that. And then there will be a knife on the floor. So they never told the story visually. See, the core competence of cinema is image. You have to tell the story, any art form, you have to practice that art by its essential elements. I can't stand there in front of you and say, I'm dancing. No, there has to be body movement. So the core competence of cinema was image, but the images were not used. So cinematic grammar did not develop. This is why Tamil cinema becomes very oral. There are two characteristics that persist in Tamil cinema. Orality. I have a game, I switch off the sound and I run fast a video of a cinema. You will just see speaking heads and all mid-shot. Then the oral element of cinema was emphasized. When an oral element is emphasized, what happens? The expressive potential of camera in terms of editing, lighting, mobility is gone. Cinema was not identified as a separate art form. It's not photograph drama. It's not verbal narration. It's basically a visual medium. Film acting came to be judged by the standards of the stage. The camera acted as a mere recording medium. I will give you one example. You see Padmini dancing in Tilana Mavanam. Are you watching a dance or are you watching cinema? You are actually watching dance. The potential of cinema doesn't come there. Camera acts as a mere recording medium, not as a creative medium. So it returned this song and dance routine. So it was a mechanical reproduction of one kind of art, as Walter Benjamin would say. Simply, they did not use the language of cinema. So in films on contemporary themes were made, they began to use verbal narration. And then when songs and dance become the main ingredient of cinema, another thing happens. It remains at an entertainment level. Political cinema will not blossom. It remains at an escapist level. In your family, if there is some person of my age, you please ask him, what is your favorite Tamil film? He will tell you, Pavamandi, Pasamula, yeah, Nalla Paatu. See, but that is not the essence of cinema. You could hear it through tape recorders. So this is the problem that was caused by dance and cinema. Routine. So there was this preoccupation with just one aspect of cinema, sound. This militated against any development of a visual sense. But there have been filmmakers who have tried to bring lately. I was talking about the broad trends. It has taken Tamil cinema a long time to move away from this mode. It's moving away. If you see Kaka Muttai, it's world class by any standards. So we have moved away from it for a long time. We were valuing in this escapist entertainment. Thank you very much. Now I'll show some clips to illustrate what I have spoken. This is Balamani, a very famous Devadasi based in Madurai. She had a drama company. She died. Okay. She died of next. This is Rushendramani, another artist from that community who had her own drama company. Later she came into films and also brought a number of other women from her family like Lakshmi Prabha and all that. I'll show her film clip. Next. Yeah. That's 7 years I've been there. It's a beautiful song. Okay, I told you that when there were no I told you that because of shortage of singing, the actors, they had female singers, actors, males. Okay, next. That is MS as Narada. exactly what they did in real life in the processions are. It's a bit of dance of the Devadasi. At scale we Vasanta. She was in modern theatre. That is. This is the concert I was be a very nice. He says sing a song in Tamil, reflection of the Tamil movement. Duet comes. That's Sarangabad. He's young this. We are coming into the 50s. Let's Siddhapuram Jayaraman from there. Devadasi. Pusa Krishnamurti. Again Siddhapuram Jayaraman, M.L. Vasantakumari, Ratnamala. Both famous Ratnamas. Sai Subhalanshi. Yeah, let's play. No, let's play this. This is Anjali Devi. Next is the last. Come to the present. Thank you, Mr. Get close. Oh, that's it.
What is the last clip?
Last?
What was the connect to the last clip?
I can't hear you.
He's asking what was the connection to the last clip?
Where it has led us, it's present day. That's all. It has evolved like this. Music and dance routine.
Director is also from that community. Vice director.
Okay, okay. I didn't know this. Yeah.
Regarding the first thing,
Please restrict to one question and also brief.
Sir, thank you so much. That was absolutely amazing. My question is very simple. You had mentioned that the Devadasi community had impacted Tamil movies and Tamil films, especially the talkies, because it kind of made a direct progression. How does it compare with films in, say, Hollywood or elsewhere? Because they obviously haven't followed the same tradition. So, how does it compare? How is it different? How did those films evolve as compared to ours?
Yeah, that's the point that I made initially. See, in Hollywood and America, Germany, France, England, major movie making countries, the talkie grew out of the silent cinema. In other words, the grammar of cinema had been developed during the silent era itself. All the major principles of cinema were evolved during the silent era. But we made an abrupt break. That's the point I'm trying to make. Yes.
I actually have two questions, but I just restricted to one, since you said so. I've heard from a cultural historian a few years ago that Muthukumar Swami Pillai apparently had a court case with the producer because they used one of his jatis without his permission, and he later had to prove that it was actually after all his own creation, and the case went to court, and there was a very interesting case that led to the final verdict coming in his favor. Do you know anything about this, and can you throw a light on it?
I think the best person who can answer the question is sitting next to you. I have not heard about this.
Alright, I'll just make the second question
Okay.
very quick. Could you throw a little bit light on the kind of wages that these women were, or both men and women were drawing at that point in time in cinema?
I have absolutely no idea. Because, you see, cinema was completely neglected and ignored. There's no record of it. So it's very, very difficult to get any record in terms of payment and all. So I have not, and also I didn't go into the question.
So even now. I'm saying that is so even now.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I am Vichemuthu, former professor at the university, and I am very happy, sir. I think we are all doing, my age, we are